Okay, hello everyone. Today we'll deal with chapter number 5, which is photosynthesis. So before I start, I will tell you a short story about a jungle. Okay? Listen carefully. There was a lion in the jungle. Okay? Now, God came and said to the lion, from tomorrow, there will not be any plants left on this earth. Okay? What did God say? God came and told the king of the jungle, the lion, and said, from tomorrow onwards, there will not be any plants left in this earth. Do what you can do to survive. And then God disappeared. And the lion thought about it and said, I don't have any problems. I don't eat plants. I can survive. I can survive by eating other plants because a lion is a carnivorous. I am a carnivorous. I can survive. Okay. So, tomorrow morning, he looked around in the jungle. Not a single plant was left. Okay? And he started eating other animals, obviously. And he survived. But after 1 month, not even a month, the lion died. Now, let me ask you, why did the lion die? Why did the lion die? Because he had nothing to eat. You must be wondering, there are lots of animals in the forest. The lion could have easily eaten the other animals. But why did the lion die? Because of starvation. Lion died because of starvation. He had nothing to eat. Now let me explain this. Plants manufacture food for all of us to eat. Okay? All of us to eat. Even the animals. Those animals which feed on plants only are called herbivores. Okay? Now you know that lion is a carnivore. It feeds on the herbivores. It eats, lions eat animals that feed on plants. So, when there was no plant left on this earth, all the herbivores, those animals which depend on plants, they kept dying because there was no plants left. Since there was no plants left, the animals started dying, the herbivores started dying, and there was nothing to eat for the carnivore. So this story tells us that the principal source of energy is produced by the plants. That's why plants are called producers. That is why plants are called producers, because they manufacture their own food. They manufacture their own food by the process called photosynthesis for itself as well for other animals, herbivores, to eat, to get the energy from it. Okay. That is why plants are called autotrophs. Okay? Plants are called autotrophs. Why? Because plants manufacture their own food. And they are also called producers because they produce food for the entire living beings, other plants, other animals like herbivores as well as carnivores indirectly. So the process by which green plants use energy of the sun or the light of the sun and convert carbon dioxide, water and the minerals, they convert it into starch. This process is called photosynthesis. So photosynthesis is the process by which plants use energy from the sun to convert carbon dioxide, water into sugars. in the presence of green coloring matter called chlorophyll. Is it okay? Now, where do the plants get carbon dioxide from? It gets carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. And where does it get, where do the plants get water from? It gets water from the soil. Now, we know that starch or glucose is produced during photosynthesis. But what happens to the glucose which is produced? It is stored by the plant's body. It is stored in the plant body, different parts of the plant. Okay, like for example, potato potato is underground stem. So the food which is produced by the potato plant is stored in the potato. That's why we eat potato. Like carrot, the food is stored in the root. Yes. If we eat the part of the stem of the plant, the food is stored in the stem. That's why we eat it. So the glucose produced is transported from the leaves to other parts of the plant. It is converted into starch and then it is stored in the different parts of the plant. Okay. Now, before we talk about the process of photosynthesis, we know that, I will tell you that carbon dioxide is one of the essential raw material for photosynthesis to take place. Now, where does it get the carbon dioxide from? It will get from the atmosphere. How does it get inside how do plants absorb carbon dioxide of the atmosphere? How? Because it passes through the tiny pores in the leaves. It passes the carbon dioxide, atmospheric carbon dioxide, gets into the leaves through the tiny pores called stomata, which is found basically in the lower portions of the leaf. Okay. Now the gases are exchanged through small openings on the leaves called stomata. Now let us talk about the structure of stomata, as I have already drawn on the board. So these are the bean-shaped structures. These are the bean-shaped structures called guard cells. And the central portion over here, the empty space, this is called the empty space is called the stomata. Okay, let me explain how it closes and opens. Stomata closes during the night and opens during the day, usually. So, how does the stomata open? Now, we know that we have guard cells. Can you see the bean-shaped structure? These are the guard cells. Now, the outer wall of the guard cell is thin, whereas you can see the inner walls of the guard cell is thick. Okay, why is it so? Now, for the stomata to open, the guard cells must be filled with water. It absorbs a lot of water. Okay, when the guard cells absorb water, it becomes turgid. Now, the water exerts pressure on both the walls, this way also, on the inner walls also, and the outer walls also. Since the outer wall, the inner wall of the stomata is thick, the pressure of the water has no effect. So therefore, all the pressure exerts on the thin outer wall of the stomata, so it will be pushed out. And this wall, the thick wall, will also be pushed outwards. So therefore, the stomata will open like this. The stomata will open. Okay. Now, how does it close at night? Because the water will rush out of the plant, the guard cell. When the water rushes out of the guard cells, what will happen is the cell becomes flaccid. Okay, like a football which does not have any air in it. It becomes flaccid. So therefore, since the walls of the stomata and the inner walls of the stomata are thick, it will collapse back to its original position. So therefore, the stomata will close at night. Okay. Now, let us discuss about some of the four raw materials needed for photosynthesis. Number one is carbon dioxide. Number one, carbon dioxide. Where does the plants get carbon dioxide from? From the atmosphere. How does it enter into the plant or the leaves? It enters through the stomata in the leaves. Okay. Now water. You know water is essential for photosynthesis. Now where does the plant get water from? It will get from the leaves. It gets from the soil. So the root absorb water from the soil and then takes it to the leaves where photosynthesis takes place. Next is light. Without light, photosynthesis cannot take place. So like we cook the food, to cook the food at home, we need energy in the form of heat. Either we use a stove or a fire or from the firewood or coal or gas or electric heaters, but we need heat energy. Similarly, for the plants to manufacture food, it needs energy. Where does the energy come from? It will come from the sun, solar energy or the light energy. In fact, solar energy is the ultimate source of energy in the universe. It is the ultimate source of energy, the solar energy. So solar energy is used by the plants to manufacture food. Next is chlorophyll. As we have already discussed in the structure of the chloroplast, that it contains chlorophyll. It contains chlorophyll. So the chlorophyll present in the green colored plastic is called chloroplast. So what are the four main raw materials needed for photosynthesis? Number one, water. Number two, carbon dioxide. Number three, sunlight. And number four, chlorophyll. Without any one of these, photosynthesis cannot take place. So now we come to the process of photosynthesis. I will tell you something very interesting. Photosynthesis is the only process which converts solar energy, the energy of the sun, into chemical energy. Okay? Solar energy, photosynthesis is the only process, naturally occurring process, which can convert solar energy into chemical energy. Please remember that. Now let me tell you how does the photosynthesis take place. First of all, water is taken up through the roots to the leaves. And next one is carbon dioxide is absorbed by the leaves through the stomata. Now what will happen? Light is absorbed by chlorophyll. Light is absorbed by chlorophyll. The solar energy is absorbed by the chlorophyll and it splits water and oxygen is released. Now the oxygen which it releases when the water breaks up into oxygen. Now oxygen is released, okay, and through the stomata. This takes place in the thylakoids of the chloroplast, as we have already discussed the thylakoids in the class earlier. Next step is carbon dioxide is split up now. Carbon dioxide splits up into carbon, and this carbon is used in the manufacture of sugar, because sugar contains carbon. I will write the formula of sugar: C12H22O11. So carbon, can you see? So the carbon, we get it from, the plants get the carbon from carbon dioxide, which is used in making sugar. Used in making sugar. Okay. Now, sugars are formed during photosynthesis, and it is converted into glucose and fructose. And then it is stored up in different parts of the plant. The process is very, very simple as far as class 7 is concerned, but if you reach class 10, now it will be dealt, the same chapter will be dealt in more detail. We talk about dark reaction and the light reaction that is there in the process called photosynthesis a little bit in detail. Now, we'll talk about the factors affecting photosynthesis. Again, the same thing, like the raw materials. Most of them are the same. Light. The factors affecting photosynthesis is the amount of light. Light energy is trapped by chlorophyll and used to convert raw materials into sugar. Remember, photosynthesis cannot take place in the dark. Okay, it needs solar energy. So during the night, plants cannot manufacture food. So light is necessary. Next is chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is found in the structures chloroplast, as we have already discussed. It enables the plant to trap solar energy and convert it into chemical energy. Temperature. Now, we need an optimum temperature for photosynthesis to take place, and the temperature ranges between 20 to 40 degrees Celsius. Okay. So temperature is also very, very important. If it's too cold or it's too hot, photosynthesis cannot take place. Even if it does, very little photosynthesis can take place. So therefore, the optimum temperature for photosynthesis to take place is between 20 to 40 degrees Celsius. The carbon dioxide, another factors which affects the photosynthesis is carbon dioxide. The rate, let me tell you that the rate of photosynthesis increases with the percentage of carbon dioxide in the air. More the carbon dioxide, more the photosynthesis. Availability of water. Water is important for photosynthesis, but all the water which is absorbed by the roots is not used up. Only 1% of water which is absorbed by the roots is used up during photosynthesis. Next, the last portion is the significance of photosynthesis. Now, why is photosynthesis so important? As I told you about the story earlier, a short story earlier, that when God told the lion that from tomorrow we will not have any plants left. What happened? Ultimately, the lion died. So, the significance of photosynthesis is that it provides energy for all the living organisms. So, photosynthesis provides food for every living being on this earth, whether directly or indirectly. The food that the plants manufacture by the process called photosynthesis, we are dependent on it directly and or indirectly for the source of energy. It is the ultimate source of energy for all the living beings, as I've already told you, including producers and consumers. Producers are the plants, and we, the animals, are the consumers. We consume the food. We cannot manufacture our own food. We depend on plants directly or indirectly for food. So, ultimate source of energy, the plants will provide us. Number three, it converts atmospheric carbon dioxide and give us oxygen for us to breathe. So that's very, very important. Plants take in carbon dioxide and then plants produces oxygen for us to breathe. So there is exchange of gas. So having plants and having trees all around us is very, very, very important. At least to get shade, rain, and most importantly, oxygen for us to breathe. And the last point we deal in today's class is photosynthesis is necessary for synthesis of many organic compounds used by plants as well as animals. So, the importance of photosynthesis, so we know that why photosynthesis not only important for the plant to survive, it is important for all the living organisms in this earth to survive. Okay? So, you will get some homeworks in the first episode, and I'll give you some homework later on. maybe by today evening you will get some messages regarding the homework. So thank you so much. So we will continue with the next chapter in the